All right, Stefan Hartman here, Iron Direct Primary Care, and we have Robyn of Cabo. She's coming to us live from Cabo, Mexico. Robyn, thanks for joining.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Robyn, you're a very interesting person. You're, an entrepreneur. You are living in Cabo. You're a Canadian, and you are all into longevity health, longevity medicine, the science of trying to live well and long, well beyond what we think is possible in conventional medicine. So tell me a little bit about how you got here, a Canadian in Cabo. How'd you come on this health journey and also this entrepreneurship journey?
Well, I started out in a place called Puerto Vallarta about 21 years ago. Yeah, we're coming up on 21 years. And I lived in Cabo San, I moved to Cabo San Lucas from Puerto Vallarta. I left Canada because I just wanted to. I didn't want to do my job anymore. I had an office job, I was an executive director for a pretty large NGO, non-governmental organization. I was just very stressed out, very unhappy. I just packed everything up and moved to Mexico, which was, everybody thought I was kind of nuts, but, and how I got into the longevity thing was, I watched my grandmother. I was a late baby. I was born in 1964, so I'm technically still a boomer. I'm right on that cusp of the Gen Xer and the boomer. And my grandmother died in the house of Alzheimer's, and I watched that from a young age. And then my mother died of Alzheimer's, and then my uncle and my aunt died of Alzheimer's. So I thought, I don't want to die of Alzheimer's. So I started studying anti-aging and brain health in particular when I was only about 30 years old, because by then everybody was dead. It was a terrible death, terrible death. It was not something you want to do. I mean, I can't think of any worse way to die than Alzheimer's. And you were saying that I'm interested in expanding my my age, the length of my life. I'm not so much interested in that as I am in increasing health span. And the information that came out during COVID was amazing. In a nutshell, what it said was what we thought were the 7 hallmarks of aging, or they believed them to be causes. They called them the hallmarks of aging. Turned out not to be causes, but to be symptoms of basically one thing. And that one thing can be controlled very easily by intermittent fasting. And there's a ton of scientific research on that. We always knew for 80 years that the fat rats died before the skinny rats. We knew that. And it was a one-to-one relationship. You restricted them 30%, they lived 30% longer, 40%, they lived 40% longer. Now, and when you started getting into any kind of severe calorie restriction, the rats became very antisocial. We also knew that, they were like attacking the other rats. And if you've ever had a girlfriend or a wife on a diet, then you get that. And I battled with my weight for my whole life. I used to joke with my training clients, my personal training clients, that I had lost 3,500 pounds. And I had probably lost at least 3,500 pounds, but it was the same 35 pounds that I kept gaining and losing, because I would try to restrict my calories. And of course it wouldn't work in the long run, because you just don't enjoy your life. You become obsessed with it. And but the intermittent fasting works extremely well for me. And it's honestly the easiest thing I've ever done. I've been able to, I was working out too much as well for a woman, that's 50, I'm almost 57. I'll be 57 in a couple of weeks. I was battering myself to death in the gym, and I just can't keep doing it. So I've been able to cut back on my workouts to about less than half of what I used to do, and still get good results in my body. So it's been a great couple of years for anti-aging information.
It sure has. That's awesome. So some women will say that fasting, women shouldn't do that. And I've heard a couple of people say that. Well, what do you think about that?
Well, it seems like of course, it's not for everybody. And this is what you have to, I've been a personal trainer ever since I got to Mexico full time. I've been in the fitness industry for years and years, just, on the peripheral. But apparently it can be a problem in teenage girls. They don't recommend it because they think, I mean, this is a very small percentage, but they think it could lead to eating disorders like anorexia or bulimia. It's not a good idea, apparently, to fast when you are in a premenstrual cycle, like the PMS. Not going without food is probably a bad idea, but I don't think they've ever proved that it is bad across the board. I think just a lot of people think they can't do it, and they freak out at the idea of skipping a meal, because the fitness industry has battered into our heads for years that we should be eating 6 meals a day, and that is absolutely untrue, as also are the amounts of protein that they've been recommending. We used to, when I was bodybuilding, they wanted us to eat 40% protein, and that ages you. That is what we've discovered in the last couple of years, is that you don't want to activate. You may make you look good, but it doesn't help your longevity. You're activating the wrong pathway, what they call the mTOR pathway, as opposed to the AMPK pathway.
So what do your calories look like per day? What are you eating? What does your calories consist of?
Well, I try to stay around 1,800. Some days I go over that, but that's about 1,800 calories seems to be about right for me. What I try to do is I've tried to really increase the amount of time that I don't eat. So I actually skip basically 2 meals. I skip breakfast and lunch, and I try to have a very nutritionally balanced meal at around 3 o'clock. So I'll stop eating at 8 o'clock at night, and I don't start till 3 o'clock. That's a 19-hour window. And that it's been shown that the longer you can go, actually, the better. Like, it would be good if I could actually go 3 or 4 days, but I haven't been doing that.
Yeah. And when you break your fast, what does it look like?
The first thing I put in there is I put in a protein shake that has collagen in it, and enough vitamin C in the form of blueberries and strawberries to absorb that collagen. I don't like taking industrial vitamin C. There's some bad information or most of that is ascorbic acid, and it actually breaks your arteries down. So I'm trying to build my arteries up. So I take a scoop of collagen, a couple of scoops of good quality protein, maybe about a half a cup of berries with no sugar added. And then I take a couple of other supplements, like you were mentioning Dr. Rhonda Patrick. I take sulforaphane, vitamin D, K2, D3, and what else do I put in there? I also put in a probiotic. Yeah, and so the first thing that goes into me in the fasted state is all stuff that I can absorb, and then I usually eat one more meal, and I don't really worry too much. I mean, about what that is. It doesn't seem to matter that much what I eat, and what I love about it is I used to be completely obsessed with never having a piece of pizza or a piece of cake or whatever, and I'm actually finding that if I break my fast once a week and maybe just do a minor pig out, I can't eat as much as I used to. I get very satiated very quickly because I'm used to not eating very much.
Right.
And but I find that for me personally, that seems to keep my muscle mass up and the weight off in the areas that I want it to stay off, which is basically my organs and my middle.
Yeah. And you said a protein scoop. What is that protein? Is that whey?
Actually, it's one from a company called Melaleuca, and I think it has casein and whey in it. And it's I like it because they make it fresh, so it's kind of like a made to order thing. So I use all their cleaning products as well, which are environmentally friendly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And do you get any animal source products, any fish, steak?
I eat steak about once a week. Try to eat grass fed, if I can get it. And actually down here, a lot of stuff is just naturally organic and naturally grass fed because they don't have as much industrial food production in Mexico as they do in Canada and the United States. I eat steak, I eat fish, I eat some eggs, not a ton. I eat everything basically. I will eat anything that you put in front of me now. I just try not to eat more than 20% of my calories in protein.
Wow. So you're really trying to do the lower protein. Yeah,
Well, that's what they're saying is the ideal diet is 20% protein, 40% for anti-aging purposes.
Anti-aging.
Anti-aging purposes, 20% protein, 40% good carbs, and 40% good fats. And although I do eat some saturated fats, and again, I'm not really too worried about it anymore. I just kind of, it really took a lot. I save a ton of money and time, if people are going out for dinner, I don't freak out about it anymore. I just go, okay, well, I used to only go and socialize if they were going to certain restaurants where I knew I could buy healthy food. I mean, I was obsessed. It was not healthy in my mind or my body, what I was up to, for most of my life, because I was so fat phobic.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And how do you feel?
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel really, really good. Yeah, I sleep like a baby. I don't take any sleep aids anymore. I don't, if you're having trouble sleeping, ladies, and you're in your 50s, pick up weightlifting. You won't have trouble sleeping. And just make sure you're doing it right, because I really noticed that I'm very prone I am more prone to pain than I used to be. And I don't know if I'm just more aware of it. I think I just used to, whatever, it hurts, let's power through it and, I think that was a mistake. I would never do that. I would never do that to my clients. The things that I've done to myself, I would never do to my clients, because I would injure them. But I'm harder on myself than I am on other people.
So I know you have the Reverse Aging Institute there, and I know you run the Air BNB there. That's how I got to know you. So do you have people come in to study with you and everything?
I'm trying to get people to do that. I've actually got a new website. The web developer talked me into changing it to rejuvenate.mx. That website is not up yet. But what I am trying to encourage people to do is come and spend a month with me and just do what I do for a month, because it's really hard for me to download 30 years of study on somebody in a short time. I had really good results with a lady from Mexico City who was here for about 6 months, and she's coming back at the end of November. So maybe we'll get to do a video with her this time, but she had fantastic results. Vanya is only 45, so she's a youngster. She's about 12 years younger than me, but she was just so open to everything, that she just did everything. This is unusual with clients. She didn't fight me on anything. I said, look, are you willing to skip breakfast? And she said, yeah, I don't like eating breakfast anyways. And are you willing to come 3 days a week and do weights? And are you willing to, and she just was willing to do everything. And she totally transformed her body.
Yeah, it sounds great. I love the idea. Go visit Cabo and study with Robyn, do what she does. That's great.
Yep.
Because I've thought about the same thing. There's just so much to teach and that goes into medicine and health. It's hard to convey it all in even what I'm doing. So I'm doing direct primary care, so I'm able to work one-on-one with patients, be really detailed. But for someone who is really has a lot of problems, a lot of disease, sometimes we call it in Germany a Kurort. In Kurort in Germany is you go to this retreat and you kind of just stay there and you do all this holistic stuff for a time and you get better. And you basically have the Kurort there, and maybe I'll do that at some point here.
Yeah, well, because everything I'm doing is kind of flying in the face of what the fitness industry has told people to do. I mean, I really didn't think it would work, honestly, because I've been brainwashed for 40 years, you know, by fitness industry that said you got to eat 6 times a day, you got to do meal prep, you can't eat certain things, and blah blah blah, and you have to do this. I mean, it just turned out, none of it turned out to be true. It especially for people over 45, 50 years old. It really, I have a problem with sometimes people just won't listen, and I can't get them, you know, if I can't get people to at least be open-minded to try something that sounds like it might not work, you know, they have to try it. And I have enough people over the years who have learned to trust me, and they know that I'm not trying to sell some multi-level marketing vitamin. That turns out to be just a load of rubbish, by the way.
Yeah.
All of the vitamins we were taking,
you don't absorb it. You don't absorb it.
Yeah. No, it's just you have very expensive urine.
Yeah.
And some of it actually is dangerous, you know, like in the case of vitamin C, that is not a complete molecule, but a complete vitamin C molecule has K, copper, and something else, K, copper, zinc, and vitamin C. And you can buy that over the counter down here at it's called Dr. Cine, super cheap. You do not need to buy a multi-level marketing product. But people have really spent a ton of money on that over the last 40 years. You know,
I like getting all my vitamins and minerals from, you know, the whole animal meats, essentially the organ meats.
Those are supposed to be really good. Yeah, I'm kind of meh. Down here in Mexico, they eat. My boyfriend likes to eat brain tacos and eye tacos and all parts. They eat all parts of the cow down here. They call it tripa. I can't do it. I just can't do it. So, but I don't know. I think.
Where did he get that? They must have hit him. They didn't give me that one. I went to the taco stands in Mexico.
Yeah, you don't have the look. You got to go to, you know, I mean, when they say they have a head taco or an eye taco, they are actually dead serious. Those are they don't tongue tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Mexicans love them. They love
it. Right.
Yeah, they eat the whole cow. I think everything except for maybe the hoof. I don't know what they do with those, but they probably grind them up into hot dogs. So yeah, there's certain things I can't eat, but you know, there is quite a bit of evidence that organ meat is actually good for you.
Oh man,
especially free range.
Oh yeah. B12, vitamin A, especially. Yeah. You can't get them like.
So B12 is a very important vitamin. Yeah, and especially if you're doing the supplement regime that I'm doing, which is actually from a book called Why We Age and Why We Don't Have to by Dr. David Sinclair. That came out also pretty much before COVID.
Yep.
So tons of information came out that nobody paid any attention to because we were all flapping our arms around and freaking out about COVID. So yeah, so it seems to be that people are not aware of this information yet, and it's being provided by people like Rhonda Patrick and who's the fasting guy that there are several. Jason Fung is one of them. He's a Canadian. There's quite a few fasting guys out there that are talking about the benefits of intermittent fasting, and most people are doing it for the weight loss, which there's so many more benefits to it than just weight loss. Weight loss is just like a bonus.
I'm seeing huge potential in cancer treatment with autophagy, either, you know, especially complementary to traditional oncologic treatments. You know, even for the benefit of reducing the side effect of nausea, I'm seeing amazing studies showing that you just do the fasting before the cancer treatment and even your nausea is improved. While the traditional teaching is you need to have a high protein diet before the chemotherapy, and people get super nauseous after that. The opposite is actually maybe true in the studies, that you have less nausea.
Yeah, it's the four, they call those the four killers. There's the 7 pillars or the 7 hallmarks of aging, and there's the 4 killers, which are cancer, heart disease, Alzheimer's, and diabetes. Those are the four things that take you out. Yeah. And yeah, they're intermittent fasting and longer fasting, and you know, regular but moderate exercise. Those are the things that really reduce your risk of those diseases.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it now. There's too much research. You can't say that it's not true anymore.
Do you train a lot of men? Because you know, I have a feeling that men do need a higher protein requirement because we have so much more muscle mass.
Well, you would have a higher caloric requirement. So like if I'm doing 1800, and how old are you, Stefan?
29.
29. See, I wouldn't drop you below, I can't remember how tall you are. You're pretty tall, aren't you? You're
about 5'10".
Yeah. Okay. I would not drop a man in of your age anywhere near 1800. You know, older man, maybe. Like if you were over 50 and, you know, like you had some serious things, might drop you to 22. But I'm not so much concerned about calories, and I'm probably not even that concerned about protein. Like if you wanted to eat more protein, I'd say go ahead, eat more protein. I've gotten out of this business of with clients of they are always there. Just drive a trainer bananas. It's like, can I eat this? Can I eat this? What about this? Can I eat this? I'm like, I just say yes. Just try to eat it between 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. and don't do that every day. Try to do that 5 days a week, and then, you know, and just don't worry about it as much, because I think the stress of worrying about what you're eating is half the damage, at least with women. We're much worse than men in the body image department. But yeah, somebody like you, I probably wouldn't drop you based on your activity levels. I probably wouldn't drop you below 36, even if you needed to lose weight, which you don't.
Yeah. What I'm doing currently is I'm mostly animal based. Most of my calories, probably 70% or above, is animal based sources. Very little excess carbohydrates. And when I do eat carbohydrates, it's not gluten. I find that I don't do well with gluten as far as my tennis performance wise, because I find that it causes arthritis. It gives me tennis elbow every time I eat gluten.
Yeah, inflammation. You're basically doing what they call the carnivore diet, and there's some people thrive on that. They absolutely thrive on the carnivore diet. I think Dave, who's the anti-aging
Dave Asprey, Rob Wolf, they all like that stuff. And it's not really carnivore. It's, you know, I love honey. I eat a lot of honey, wild honey, fruits. I love fruits, especially when I'm playing tennis tournaments. And I will have some non-gluten based like a waffle before a tennis tournament, just to get that extra energy. I feel like I'm not as explosive in tennis if I'm completely carnivore, so I do need to incorporate some carbohydrates to get that explosiveness.
Yeah, I don't. For myself, what is your blood type? Just out of curiosity, do you know?
I believe it's a type A. Yeah.
Okay, so you're actually one of the blood types that could get away with being a vegetarian, believe it or not. The A's are agrarians. If you believe in that, I mean, this is another fad diet. Probably it was called the blood type diet, but it did seem that it worked for me to eat animal products. I don't do well with I get fat if I try to do no protein, you know, like just, you know, vegan or whatever. And I didn't do well with that diet. Although I kind of enjoyed it. I think I cycle through things, like where I just don't feel like eating meat for a while, or I don't feel like eating fish, or I don't feel like eating carbs. You know, I kind of go with how I
intuitive.
Yeah. And if you're willing to restrict your eating window, it's starting to look research-wise like it doesn't really matter what you eat, as long as the benefits of going without food for longer frames of time they're undeniable.
It's undeniable. It's so sad that that's the case too, right? Eat less, live longer.
Yeah, but it's really easy if you just pass the psychological. Why I want people to stay for me for at least 2 weeks is it usually takes a couple of weeks to get over the idea that you're hungry, or the biggest complaint that I hear is that, oh, I got really dizzy. Well, for how long did you get dizzy? Did you ride it out? Because when you switch over from being a fat burner or from a carbohydrate burner to a fat burner, there's a period in there where you might feel a little bit dizzy, but you got to ride it out. You got to ride it out, it just seems very natural to me to eat that way, because that is how we didn't walk around eating all day when we evolved. We went for long periods of time without eating. Yeah. Right. And then we gorged on meat usually. So, right. Not saying that, we also didn't live very long. So, there's probably a balance there as well. But some people do extremely well with carbs. Some people do extremely well with raw. I think it depends on what you want to eat and whatever you can sustain. Mm-hmm. If you can't sustain it, just don't do it. No. If it's not sustainable and you're not happy, it doesn't pay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's got to be sustainable. And for me, this is extremely sustainable.
That's perfect. It's working for you. Clearly, you're doing great.
Yeah. I feel good. I look better. I don't weigh myself anymore. I used to obsessively be weighing myself. I do check my blood. I check my blood numbers, and those are really good, really good. And if I can, I have to fly to the United States to do this. But if I can get a scan, a body scan type of thing, where they can tell me where the fat is and what because the most dangerous fat you can't even see. That's the stuff that hangs around your organs. That's what causes inflammation. And
if you come here to Florida, I can get you a coronary artery calcium scan. You ever done one of those?
No, I haven't actually. Although, let me see. Did they do? I think my arteries are fine, but I'm always interested in any kind of interior scan, because that's really where the rubber meets the road. I mean, you might look okay on the outside, but you might have all kinds of what's the stuff called? Visceral fat.
Oh yeah. So the visceral fat is one that increases your risk of death from heart attacks. But the other one, if you really want to know if you're going to die of a heart attack, you want to get the coronary artery calcium score. And this really came on my radar when Ben Greenfield, I'm pretty sure you're aware of him, he got one and his arteries were very bad. I was really shocked. Yeah, terrible. And he thinks it's from his life as a bodybuilder, doing 6 meals a day, spiking his insulin constantly, eating a bunch of carbs all the time. He thinks that's how he caused all this damage. And now he's doing all this holistic stuff. But if you look at his coronary calcium score, like, oh boy, he did some damage.
Right. Well, I probably didn't do any damage doing bodybuilding, because I was on men have a much different regimen than women bodybuilders, especially in the division I was training for, which I never competed, but I was training in the bikini division. So we did very restricted calories. We were doing tons of workout on about 1,700 calories. To get the body fat down really low. So I probably didn't do too much damage there, because I wasn't doing any, I was doing things like oatmeal, sweet potatoes, a lot of green vegetables, and too much protein, but it probably didn't. I'm a type O blood type, so it probably didn't. I don't know. I'm probably okay, but I'd like to check.
Yeah, we'll check it.
Yeah, I'll have to come out to Florida.
Yeah.
And see you guys.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be cool. All right. Well, we covered a lot of topics here. I think that about sums it up. And where can people find you if they want to reach out to you?
Robyn Littlewood. If you type in Robyn Littlewood, Robyn, make sure you get the Y. Robyn Littlewood, Los Cabos. I'll come up in probably the top 10 search results. I have an unusual name, Robyn Robyn Littlewood.
Yeah.
So Robyn Littlewood, Los Cabos trainer, Robyn Littlewood, Los Cabos. I'll come up on any engine as probably the top 8.
Yeah. And you're still on Airbnb, right?
I'm still on Airbnb.
Cool.
Yep. I have 2 places on Airbnb. So if people want to do a whole house rental, they can come down, rent a whole house, or they can just stay with me here in my house. Both very nice houses and in a nice area. If you like to work out outdoors, I have beautiful area here to work out. We have tennis courts and pickleball and all kinds of things.
Very cool. Awesome.
Yeah. And a gym in the house. I don't know if you can see behind.
I know the weights go up to like 60 pounds, I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, 52.5. They're the Bowflex adjustables. Yeah.
Yes.
And got TRX and Bosu and very nice places to hike and bike and snorkel
and great surf. That's why I came there. Great surf.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so what was that?
Los Monumentos, monuments, the best surf spot there.
Yeah, that's right. You did some surfing. We couldn't find you a tennis partner, unfortunately.
No.
Did we ever manage to find you somebody to play tennis?
No, I know.
Courts here. Nobody ever uses them. We have
tennis. Not much tennis in Cabo.
No, it's people. Yeah, people aren't into it. They I don't know why. I never learned to play. I was always more of a single user sport person. Bicycling and skiing and weightlifting.
All right, very good talking to you. I think we'll end the recording here.
Okay, well, thanks for having me, and I hope we see you again soon.
Yeah, all right.